hidden away in a small town in the north of Portugal, you will find the Sanatorium Presidente Carmona, better known as the Paredes de Coura Sanatorium. It started as a sanatorium to help railway employees affected by tuberculosis in the early 1900s, but then later converted into a psychiatric hospital after the revolution of April 25th. Little is known about what happened in the following years, but shortly after, it was permanently shut down and has been left in that state to this day. Let's go back, however, and deep dive into the full history of the Sanatório Paredes de Coura. In the early 1900s, Portugal was faced with a tuberculosis epidemic. During this time, the construction of multiple sanatoriums and treatment centers was necessary, and by the order of Carlos Vasconcelos Porto, Artillery General of Portuguese Army, 3 hospitals were built specifically for the treatment of railway employees afflicted with tuberculosis, the first one taking the name of the general, known as Vasconcelos Porto Sanatorium in Faro. Unfortunately, with increasing tuberculosis cases, the sanatorium proved incapable of sheltering all the patients, leading to the construction of a second building, Paredes de Coura Sanatorium. The construction started in 1919, but its inauguration was far to be seen. Even though its construction was predicted to be finished much sooner, the lack of financial resources delayed it, and for a brief moment, the idea of abandoning the construction of this building was on the table, believing that a sanatorium that would only be able to shelter 20 patients would not be financially viable. However, 1,500,000 escudos had already been spent on this project, and with that in mind, Loban Tunes, director of the Railway's Health Services, suggested multiple changes to be made to the building, so it could at least shelter 40 patients. These changes were only possible in 1932, once again due to financial struggles. By January of 1932, the construction of the building was nearly finished, but a new step back emerged. Due to the lack of budget or organization from the state, only the building was built, lacking the funds to acquire the necessary medical equipment. In the end, it took 4 million escudos to finish this project. The inauguration finally took place on September 16, 1934, with high-profile individuals of the railway industry scene attending the event, along with local authorities representatives and the press. After the tour of the sanatorium, a memorial tombstone was revealed, dedicating the building to President Oscar Carmona. By 1955, this sanatorium, which started with a single pavilion for 40 people, grew to shelter 70 patients, expanding to its maximum capacity of 200 by 1962. With the advances in the medical field and the reduction of tuberculosis cases, by 1974, the important role of sanatoriums dwindled, leading to the closure of spaces like this all across Portugal. This did not signify the end, however. In the mid-1990s, Paredes de Coura Sanatorium was converted into a psychiatric hospital with around 60 permanent patients. Unfortunately, the healing of the mind was not a priority for the country back at the time, and therefore there was little financial support. In August of 1994, RTP, the public news channel, made a news story showing the conditions in the hospital.
O antigo Sanatório para Tuberculose Pulmonar em Paredes de Coura é residência fixa de 56 doentes do Hospital Psiquiátrico. Um espaço de fantasia para quem o vê por fora, mas uma vida muito própria para quem lá vive. Neste edifício, os doentes não têm grades a separá-los do mundo exterior. A vida é feita em comunidade, em dois mundos que se juntam num só. Cá fora, ouvimos uma mulher de 70 anos a dizer que está grávida. Chegou mesmo a pedir que as enfermeiras lhe fizessem uma cesariana. Ou um jovem de 30 anos que foi criado com galinhas e agora come tudo o que lhe apetece. Chaves, alfinetes e até mesmo bichos.
Muitos poderiam ir para a família, mas as famílias rejeitam.
O dinheiro que o Ministério da Saúde atribui para esta unidade hospitalar acaba por ser pouco. A terapia ocupacional quase não existe. Quem tem jeito, como é o caso deste paciente, lá vai fazendo alguma coisa por iniciativa própria, enquanto que todo o edifício aguarda por uma grande remodelação. Com falta de verbas, as enfermeiras, auxiliares, pessoal administrativo e médicos fazem milagres proporcionando um mundo próprio àqueles que, na maior parte dos casos, são rejeitados pela sociedade, que muitas vezes foi a principal causa do seu atual estado.
By 2002, Paredes de Coura Psychiatric Hospital closed its doors permanently and has been abandoned ever since, left to rot on top of this mountain overlooking the town it calls home. There has been multiple plans to reuse this space, such as turning it into a golf course or an animal breeding ground, but both projects end up failing through. Looted and vandalized multiple times, this old sanatorium still manages to preserve the history of one of Portugal's darkest periods to this day. Amongst the broken glass and decay, you can still find items such as clothing, shoes, old juice bottles, stretchers, signs, and many others. In 2019, the mayor of Paredes de Coura announced that the space was sold to a local investor who plans to turn it into a touristic enterprise. In 2023, the surrounding areas of the sanatorium were cleaned, allowing for a clear view of the historical walls once more.